Hey everyone, it's Allie, and unfortunately, we need to cover some pretty sad news. Yesterday, GG put out a video where Jonathan talked about how current development on everything is going and how the next league for PoE 1 3.26 is unfortunately going to be delayed until the next major patch for PoE 2, patch 0.2, is released. Jonathan talked about how they had to pull quite a large amount, if not probably the majority of the dev team, away from PoE 1 to PoE 2 to get it ready to go for EA. And because of that, they basically haven't really worked on 3.26 at all, and they're not going to be able to until patch 0.2 first comes out. This most likely means that we are at least a month away from patch 0.2, and given they said they basically haven't worked on 3.26, that means we're most likely 2, if not 2.5 months away from 3.26 at a minimum, putting it out somewhere in late April, May, or maybe even potentially early June. GG typically do a 2 to 3 week long hype cycle before any major update comes out, and well, given there's no current hype cycle for patch 0.2, that means we're at least 2 to 3 weeks away from it. And well, given that they did this update video, I don't think that's necessarily true, and we're most likely at least a month away. Now, they did say they want to get patch 0.2 out as soon as they can, so I really don't think we're have to wait much longer than around the end of February, but well, this still really sucks. I was personally really excited for 3.26, and I was even talking about on my stream how I was going to play PoE 2 for another week or two, and then I was going to swap over to PoE 1 and get my Poison Concoction build ready, as I was really excited. I know a lot of people are going to enjoy it, and I was personally going to have a lot of fun with it, and I had a lot of plans for 2.26, and well, yeah, I guess those plans have to wait another 2 months or so at least. Now, I get it. I completely understand, and I see where John is coming from in the video. PoE 2 was kind of looking like a hot mess, especially the endgame, and they kind of needed all hands on deck to be able to get it presentable. And I completely understand why they decided to rush this for December. If you don't know much about the video game industry, the majority of video game sales happen around Christmas time. It's why you see the majority of major game releases happen around this time. And it makes sense that they wanted to get this game out before Christmas to, well, cash in on the spending that people do around that time. At least that's what, as an outsider, think happens. It just makes sense from a business perspective. Personally, as a player, if I got to play PoE 2 and got to see what the endgame looked like before it launched, I definitely would have advocated for it to be cooked for at least another month or two and maybe have it come out around now-ish. I'm sure with basically another month and a half of them being able to dev the game and work on it, we most likely would have had a lot more of a polished product, especially with game balancing and what the end game currently looks like. But hey, I get it. I completely understand it, and it is what it is. This still doesn't stop me from feeling disappointed, unfortunately. Now, years ago, when PoE 2 was first announced to us, it was sold off to us as an update for PoE 1 that was so major they had to call it PoE 2. I initially wasn't really on board with it, as a lot of PoE 2 didn't really look that good, but I was willing to give it a chance, and over time, I warmed up more and more to the idea of it. A few years ago, at the last ExileCon, they went and specifically said that PoE 2 is now going to be its own game instead of it being an update for PoE 1, and I kind of understood why they did that, given that PoE 2 was going to look fairly different from PoE 1. And what they specifically said at ExileCon was that PoE 1 and PoE 2 will both be actively developed at the same time, both games being supported, and this wasn't a case of them just completely dropping PoE 1 in favor of PoE 2. Now, I was a little bit skeptical of that, but again, we have to see what actually happens, and there's no reason to moan and complain about it until we actually see what happens. And I don't know. I get it why we haven't had a season in PoE 1 for a year. Settlers came out in July, and it most likely looks like we are going to be waiting at least 10 to 11 months in total before 3.26 comes out. And I totally understand that this most likely is a one-off event of them having to just get PoE 2 out. But I don't know. It just feels kind of bad when John specifically said they basically haven't worked on 3.26 at all. It just feels like PoE 1 kind of got stunted quite a lot, as I'm sure they definitely took a big chunk of the initial PoE 1 team to start working on PoE 2 as they got more new hires to fully flesh out whatever their PoE 2 team looks like. But I don't know. I just feel disappointed knowing that PoE 1 could have definitely been a much better game than it currently is, and we most likely could have had many more new and amazing features added into the game if everyone just worked on PoE 1 the whole time, where everything from PoE 2 just got added to PoE 1 slowly over time like they said they would, given it's basically the same game engine as far as I'm aware, so the amazing graphical fidelity of PoE 2 and basically all the other changes, if I'm not mistaken, don't really have a reason to not be compatible with PoE 2, given they even updated the Act 1 town with PoE 2 graphics years ago to showcase us what PoE 2 might look like. What I'm trying to say here is that it's very, very, very disappointing. I was looking forward to 326 and, well, I'm still looking forward to it now, but it just sucks knowing that the development of it got completely shelved in favor of PoE 2. I don't want to be a doomer about this. I'm trying to stay positive, but a part of me wants to be cynical and expect GGG to always prioritize PoE 2, and I feel like this might just become a common occurrence, at least over the next year, year and a half, while they try and get PoE 2 out the door. A part of me is a little bit afraid that this might mean they might just let PoE 1 fall and die once PoE 2 fully comes out, but again, that's just me being very negative and being very upset right now more than anything else. I don't know, it just sucks, and I had plans, and, well, the plans are kind of ruined, and yeah, I don't know. It's just unfortunate. Personally, if I could have it my way, I'd prefer for 326 to come out soon, with patch 0.2 for PoE 2 being delayed for them to cook it and make it better, because while PoE 2 is fun, I also want to play PoE 1, because PoE 1 still gives us something that PoE 2 will most likely never give us, which is just the sheer amount of really cool builds and build diversity available in that game, given that, well, if you look at even just the trigger nerfs and the current state of balancing, PoE 2 is a little bit dire, and most likely will be dire for quite a while. So while builds are fun in PoE 2, it'll also be fun to have the basically unlimited potential that PoE 1 has, and just feels bad that we won't realistically have a reason to go play it for a few more months. That's all I really have to say here. I know the latter half of the video was just me complaining, but I don't really have anything too nice to say about this, as it is pretty upsetting, and, well, it does seem like quite a lot of the player base is also pretty upset about these changes, and I'm sure we'll all feel a little bit better about it over time, but right now, emotions are fairly high. If you want to discuss any of this, or if you like to vent your emotions, feel free to do so in the comments below. I know a lot of people are not very happy, so by all means, I'd be more than happy to have some sort of conversation about any of this with you. I also stream on Twitch every single day, so feel free to come by Twitch and talk about it there with me if you want to, or if you simply want to come and join our community and be a part of all the amazing kitties in it, I'd be more than happy to see you there as well. Well, as I said, kitties, we're going to go have some fun with PoE 2. I have quite a lot of plans of things I still want to do, and, well, it's kind of nice knowing that we now have a month or two to be able to have fun with everything that I want to do in PoE 2 before the next PoE 1 league comes out. I don't have to feel rushed. I'll see y'all kitties in the next video, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.